Hello everyone, welcome to this video which is an assessment briefing for the first assessment for BSS044-3, so that's International Business Management. So we're going to cover a fair amount in this video, but we are going to try to move at a fair clip. So the first assessment is a written report, so assessment 2 is an exam. The first assessment is a written report, is individual, is not group work. The work must be just your own, is worth 40% of the unit grade, and the length is 3,000 words. So as with all written assessments within the university, you're allowed 10% over the word count. So in this case, the maximum word count would be 3,300 words. Anything above that, and we would stop marking. So we would only mark the first 3,300 words and nothing after that. Is worth bearing in mind, however, quite a bit is excluded from the word count. So your executive summary, your table of contents, your title page, your reference list, your citations, all of that is excluded. So we're really just talking about the main body of your work. So we're going to review the central assessment task itself, so what you're being asked to do in the assessment, looking over what unit concepts and theories or models you can use, which is really important. A quick look at a structure you could use as well, sources of information when the online support sessions are, and then lastly a word about AI platforms such as Grammarly, Corebot, ChatGPT, and so on. So the assessment task in this first assessment is to pick a specific company. So that's actually either be allocated to you or depending on your location. So which campus or partner you're studying with, you may be given a chance to propose using a company as well. So you'll end up with a company though, whether you've proposed one or you've been allocated one, and you need to recommend a new market to enter. So that's a new national market to enter, a new country to enter, and an entry mode to use for that entry. So please do speak with your class tutors about how the company will be, whether it will be allocated or you'll be given a chance to propose it. But we need to end up with a paper arguing for these two specific recommendations. As well as that, you have some additional elements as well. So it's strongly recommended that you have at least some coverage of these particular unit concepts, models, and topic areas. So political, legal, political risks, legal systems, cultural distance, supply chains, economic and trading blocks, forex, and currency risks. So these aren't required because different reports will have different considerations. So, for example, if your company is a German company and you're going to enter in the French market, forex, currency risks aren't going to be particularly important for you. Both your home market and your recommended new market to enter are using the same currency. So therefore, there are no currency risks. There are no forex risks. Whereas if you're a German company and you're looking to, your recommendation is to enter the Brazilian market, then it may be that actually there's a big section in your report dealing with forex and currency risks. So we're not requiring coverage of all of these topic areas because it may not be relevant, but most of them will be. So, even if one or two are not relevant, the majority of them will be relevant. So you do need to spend some time considering which of these are important. But if we boil it down to your central task is to make an argument for a given company to enter a new market using a particular entry mode. I just want to highlight here, there are some companies which are very difficult for this because they're already in practically every market around. So if you choose Coca-Cola, well, Coca-Cola are already operating in practically every country that there is. And if you write a report, say, recommending that Coca-Cola enter the Italian market, the response is going to be, well, they already do operate in the Italian market. You would have failed to demonstrate kind of extremely basic research ability, and that would not be a report that you would expect to actually get a passing mark. You do need to demonstrate basic research ability in recommending a new market to enter, which is what the recommendations are. So please do bear that in mind. But there's a huge range of positive reasons. So there's a huge range of arguments that you could make for any given company to enter a particular country. So some of these may be the economic upside, some of them may be the political and legal environment, some of them may be beneficial currency exchange risk gaps, some of them may be cultural, some may be supply chains. So there's both proactive and reactive motivations for entering into a given country. I would recommend that we go back to the first week, week 1 of the unit, and you'll find a long list, because a big section of the first lecture is actually dedicated to proactive and reactive motivations. So you'll get a sense of the range of arguments that could be made for expanding internationally there. But this is an example of some of those arguments that we could use for any given report. So if we consider this to be our range of possible arguments, what I want us to do here is to just take a look at those required elements. You have a formal report structure. You also have a process log and reflection. So the process log would be Appendix A, and then you're asked to include a reflection, which is Appendix B. So we do have to add these two elements on as well. So you have the company that you've been assigned or that you've got approved from your tutor. You have the actual argument which you're making. So in order to develop and argue for your recommendations of a new national market to enter with an entry mode to use, and then you have the two required appendices as well. So Appendix 1 being the process log, and Appendix 2, or Appendix A rather, being the process log, and Appendix B being the reflection. Now, the next thing that I do want to highlight, which is really important, is the actual unit concepts and theories to use. Remember, this is an assessment of your learning on the unit. So we're not looking for generic arguments. Neither are we looking for theories or models you've learned in past units. So I know you guys have studied SWOT, PESTEL, Porter's 5 forces. We do not cover those theories on this unit. We teach you a whole bunch of international business focused concept theories and models, and that's what we're testing. So this is an assessment of how well you've learned this unit's material. So to give you an idea of that, there's a ton of relevant weeks material, lots and lots of different theories and models that we can use. So we'll give a couple of examples. So if you go back to our argument, the exact theories or models you're going to use depend on the key elements of your example. Key elements of your argument, So let's take currency exchange risks. So let's say this is part of your argument, that the two countries have that you're using, your home market and your recommendation, have a stable currency exchange rate. Therefore, the exchange risk is minimal. What we want to do here is go through the brioche shell and find some relevant models or concepts that can help us. And you will find there are quite a few. So we open up week 6, we go into the currency exchange and forex folder, and we find that there's slides in there specifically spelling out currency exchange risks. So in this case, the model breaks risks into 3 separate sections. You have transaction risks, translation risks, and economic risks. You apply this model and you evaluate your recommendation for each of these risks. So you say, well, the transaction risk is medium, the translation risk is low, and the economic risk is low. You support it with good citations, you demonstrate you understand the risk model, you demonstrate your research ability, and you'll get an excellent mark for that particular section. because you're showing your understanding of the argument, you're showing your understanding of the appropriate unit model or concept, so in this case the exchange risk model, and you're showing your research ability with strong citations as well. That's the way that you're demonstrating your understanding of theory, not by using a very generic basic model like Pestel or Porter's. The same thing you can apply for pretty much any of these elements. We look at political and legal environments, so let's take political systems. We can open up the lecture slides on political risk, and we find that the political risk model that you've been taught on this unit is breaking political risk into 3 types: systemic risk, procedural risk, distributive risk, and catastrophic risk. This is important that we use this model. So for example, I know a lot of people are going to talk about corruption, because many of the countries which are going to be recommended may well have issues with corruption. I mean, to be honest, if you're recommending a country like the US at the moment, the corruption risk is very public and much higher than it would have been, say, 10 years ago. So there's a wide range of countries where you would want to talk about corruption. However, if you just have a heading which says corruption and you talk generally about corruption, you're going to get a poor mark. That's not going to be a good section. What you want to do, it comes under political risk, and it actually is procedural risk. So procedural political risk is the risk of stated procedures being subverted or undermined. That is the definition of corruption. You have a stated public procedure. However, there's a high risk that stated public procedure is undermined, or it's subverted, or is gotten around. So placing your political risk section, having procedural risk rated as high, and having a discussion about corruption with the appropriate citations, that will get you high marks for that section. Just talking about corruption in a generic way under its own heading doesn't demonstrate that you've understood the theoretical side of things with regards to political risk, nor will it really demonstrate you've understood, you've demonstrated research ability either. We can do the same thing for a legal environment as well. If you look in the legal system, legal systems lecture slides for week 2, I believe it is, you'll see that broken down into different types of legal systems: common and civil law systems, theocratic, customary, and mixed systems. You have other legal concepts: rule of man, rule of law, and other various things in those slides as well. So it gives you a range of different concepts that you can pick from and apply in a way that you think actually helps develop your argument for your recommendations in the most useful manner. But that's showing your understanding of the unit, just showing that you're actually learned these key concepts, you're applying these key concepts from the unit material. Right, so I've mentioned a couple of times about the importance of demonstrating your research ability. It is on the mark scheme as well. So it is worth just taking a moment talking about the sources of information you should use and the citations you should use. We can break these down into 2 key groups. You have your academic citations, which show that you understand the international business concepts and theories. And you've got loads of sources for them. Remember that you do have core textbook for this unit. So anything we discuss in the unit, they will be referenced or discussed in the textbook as well. So you should be using the textbook to support both your learning as well as your assessment preparation. But you've got a ton of international business journals, available in Discover and so on, and you've got a range of international business texts outside of the textbook available as well. So there should be lots of sources for academic citations to support the actual theory and models that you discuss in your assignment, but you also need to demonstrate your research ability outside of just the theory, but the actual information about your recommendation, your country, your company, and so on. And this is where your credible non-academic citations should come into play. So you should be well balanced between the two. but the non-academic citations should be credible. So things which are not credible, I mean, Wikipedia is a fantastic resource, fantastic for humanity. However, it's an open, editable resource which is frequently changing, and is also vulnerable to misinformation being snuck in, and defacing and so on. So it's not something that we would accept in an academic context. Same thing goes for Investopedia, and then you have other fairly weak sites as well. Dictionary.com is a really bad choice as well. If you're discussing something, let's say you're discussing tariffs and you want to define tariffs, please don't use dictionary.com. You're in the final year of your university study. You should understand that terms have academic definitions, and go to textbooks for definitions, not to just a random dictionary. The literal meaning of a word may not be the meaning of the word within that particular academic context within a particular field. So please don't use all sites, not credible. Things which are credible and that I would recommend that you use. Harvard Business Review is not a journal, by the way. It's not peer reviewed, it's not academic, but it is a credible non-academic source. Theconversation.com is fantastic. It's a source for academics to publish their research for non-academic audiences, which means that it's not peer reviewed. However, it is full of really well written, straightforward, written for a general audience articles by experts in the field. A ton of data can be gained from the World Bank, the UN, and the IMF. So data.imf.com is a fantastic source, and you've got a range of other data sets available from these organizations as well. If you're going to go to news sites, go to credible news sites. The Guardian, the BBC, the Times, the Telegraph are all absolutely fine. And if you are using Wikipedia to develop your understanding, don't cite Wikipedia itself, but instead follow the citations on the Wikipedia articles to find credible citations, which will be a much, much better way of doing things. Okay, so we've almost come to the end. So we are going to have some additional academic support sessions as well. So the first is going to be on Tuesday, the 14th of October, at 12 p.m. UK time. There will be another one the following Tuesday at the same time as well, 12 p.m. So please look to your Brio shows. There will be a link posted as an announcement, so it'll also get emailed to you on your student email accounts as well. Just a quick note, both of those are Q&A sessions, so they're not going to be assessment briefing sessions. That's the purpose of this video. So please come to those two sessions with questions. That's the purpose of the sessions, is to provide an opportunity to ask direct questions about the assessment, but they have to be direct questions. They have to be specific questions. Please don't come and just ask a general question like, what do I do for the assignment? You should have read the assessment brief, being present for the in-class discussions about the assessment with your class tutors, as well as watching this video. You shouldn't just turn up to the sessions without any idea of what the assessment's about. Instead, come after having done some preparatory work with questions, and we can have a discussion and I can answer your questions hopefully in a direct manner. Just a final note about AI platforms and tools. Whether you can use these tools, the answer is quite straightforward, and that's no. So if you wish to use any AI platforms for research purposes, you can, but it has to be referenced and cited. So if you've used ChatGPT to say bounce around some ideas about your recommendation, or to help you conduct any research, you should be taking screenshots of your interactions with ChatGPT. And if you go on the library website, there's instructions on how to reference those. You are not permitted to reference any, you're not permitted to include any AI generated text in your actual work itself. So obviously that excludes any AI, the output of any AI platforms such as ChatGPT, Google Gemini. It also includes platforms such as Coolbot. So if you have if you're thinking, well, I want to paraphrase something, but I find it difficult to paraphrase myself, so I'll just use Coolbot, that does count as an AI platform. That is not permitted under the university rules, and that's a problem. And the same thing goes for Grammarly. If you have trouble with your language and you want to say that English isn't your native language, which I understand is an issue. English isn't my native language either. I'm not born in the UK. I understand it can be challenging, but the solution is to improve your English. The solution is not to use AI powered platforms like Grammarly. And the answer is simple. I mean, the reason why is simple. If you've used Grammarly and it's improved your English, and it sounds really fantastic and academic, and we ask you what does this sentence mean, and you don't know, you haven't improved your English at all. You don't understand the output of what's being created. If it's increased your vocabulary, again, it hasn't, because it's just changed the words that you've written, and you would struggle to kind of actually get through any kind of Viva. Please don't use these tools. They're not permitted. If you get called to a Viva, saying, "Oh, I was just trying to improve my English," or "I was just trying to get some ideas," is not going to be a valid defense. You are going to have to actually write the report yourselves. All right, brilliant. Hope this has helped. Take care all, and I'll see you guys at the support sessions.